Our music video meets conventions rather well, and like every music video, it promotes our album, like Roy Shucker suggests. It is a rather gritty and realistic music video that fits the pace of the music and cuts as each beat hits. The story is emotional, with young actors making it quite relatable to the audience, as stereotypically people of this age are known to be portrayed in such a manner, and as Sarah Thornton describes them as a collective subculture. Most do at some point get involved with drugs, deviance, and bad relationships with others. Ours is what Svenny Carlson would label as a fully narrative music video, but usual alternative rock music videos balance between the three types, leaving us open to personal choice. He would also suggest that this would be most effective due to the fact that many find a narrative music video most engaging and interesting, and if they are able to grasp the consumer's attention, they will relate the music video with a real meaning, persuading them to buy the album. The image on screen, plus the beat of the sound and the semantic meaning of the lyrics send an insightful message to the reader, which is common around the alternative rock genre, as it is known to be a rather creative and meaningful type of art. First thought suggested that it would have been easier to film, and getting hold of the band would have been difficult, but we soon learnt that no matter who you decide to cast, it is going to be difficult to organise and plan. In a way, however, our music video also goes against conventions, as the main protagonist is displayed in a negative manner, breaking Richard Dyer's idea of most productions creating a star persona. I feel like our music video gives a more realistic view of this kind of situation, rather than the way it can be dolled up in other media products and the romanticisation of the dangerous parts of being a teenage deviant. It is easy to compare our music video against the 1975's video of Robbers, as both have a love story, drugs, and end in tragedy. The dark scenes and staggered story is much like our own. Carl Rogers' theory has been put into play as an ideal self has been created in both the videos, as they are displayed to be fun and interesting people. However, there is no ideal partner in ours, as the male is shown to be an undesirable boyfriend, whereas in Robbers, the 1975 play around with this idea of teenage romantic passion. As stated before, we seem to de-romanticize 1975's portrayal of this subculture, giving them a more realistic outcome and reaction from those surrounding him in his life, rather than just following the typical naivety of sex, drugs, rock and roll. It neither supports or rejects Walter Lippmann's ideas of stereotypes, as both videos create a negative viewpoint of these kinds of youths, just in different manners, either rose-tinted or not. Although American Idiot by Green Day is mostly pop-punk, it would also come under the umbrella category of alternative rock. Like this music video, we use plenty of close-ups of their face and other features, which was inspired by this hybrid music video. We also took the idea of speeding up the footage to create an odd manic effect that is commonly used in Green Day's production. We did this with the scene containing the gang in the car. My digipack and poster follow a very similar convention to the usual alternative rock market. This also promotes our album, as Roy Shucker suggests. The black and white colour scheme and strong contrasts are common household colours in digipacks of alternative rock artists. The art and overall aesthetic of the piece is rather minimalistic, but at the same time rather artistic and intriguing. The pictures of hands symbolise different things, and it's up to the reader to decide what it's trying to suggest. It's down to individual interpretation. The pinky promise, hands clasped, hands pressed together, all work together to imply the topics used for inspiration for the album. One part of the digipack is in colour, which is thought to be thought-provoking and create a giant contrast between the usual dull shades. This may also imply the use of drugs in this subculture. Many creative rock artists do similar things with their digipacks and adverts to entice their audience to be curious about the album, and due to this being their debut album, they currently won't have many devoted fans. The album is also self-titled, which is very common in debut albums. The 1975 and Arctic Monkeys both have digipacks that are purely black and white with incredibly strong contrast and a light glow. The black background and white text makes the information pop out, and the bold text makes it easy to read. I have took note on how effective this is and used it in my own digipack. It also gives it a vintage and rather sophisticated look, which I decided was appropriate for my own product. Even though the music itself is rather gritty, it likes to disguise itself as something more enchanting. I also think the title Carousel has a more semantic connotation of being something a little more old-aged and classic. The adverts are basically identical and use the same art, fonts and colour scheme, and so I have kept with the fluidity by doing the same with my advert. I didn't realise this when making my digipack and advert, but my design is very similar to the scripts. In fact, the front cover is almost the same. The inside sleeves also have images of the band on them, whereas the front cover and back cover are purely artistic photography, like mine, although I have chose to use the protagonist rather than the band so that my digipack links back to my main product well. The 1975's album's digipack also contained the landscape image of the band on the inside, but the outside is quite blander and I have chosen to follow a similar structure. I decided to add the names of some popular songs to the poster to draw in the audience that have may already tasted the band. This is a common tactic used in debut albums. This consistency helps create an identity for the band, which will be expressed in detail in the next question of this evaluation.